Hey, First Church, and welcome to week 3 of our series, The Cross. Over the past couple of weeks, we've taken a look at two people, Simon of Cyrene and the repentant thief on the cross, who had very close personal interactions with Jesus in the final hours of his earthly life. This week, we're going to shift gears and turn our attention to one of the people responsible for carrying out Jesus' execution, the Roman Centurion. A Roman centurion was the commander of a Roman centuria, the smallest unit of a Roman legion, usually consisting of 80 to 100 soldiers. Now, this is not the first place in Matthew's gospel we are introduced to Roman centurions. In fact, Matthew provides us with an example of how a Roman centurion expressed faith in the work and identity of Jesus. At the beginning of his gospel in chapter 8, Jesus commends a Roman centurion for having more faith than any Jewish person in Israel when he demonstrates trust in Jesus' authority to heal and exercise power just by speaking a word. And when we arrive at the end of Matthew's gospel, we see a similar account provided. Follow along with me as I read from Matthew 27, verses 50 through 54. And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two, from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many people. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." Now, this Roman centurion and whoever else from his centuria that was accompanying him would have been with Jesus for several hours leading up to this point. If you'll notice, Matthew includes the phrase, "when they saw the earthquake and everything else that had happened." They were eyewitnesses of many things surrounding Jesus' life and death, much like the repentant thief on the cross. If they had been serving in Israel for any time at all, they would have heard rumors or perhaps even seen Jesus' miraculous healings and exorcisms. So because they already undoubtedly associated Jesus with the miraculous, when unexplainable natural phenomena began to take place during Jesus' crucifixion, it probably had these soldiers thinking, maybe there is something special about Jesus. I mean, we've crucified hundreds, if not thousands of people before, but we've never seen darkness cover the land for 3 hours. We've never heard the one being crucified intercede and ask a deity to forgive us. I mean, the one's literally killing him, and we've never felt an earthquake at the exact moment the person dies. When you take the time to slide yourself into the shoes of the people who actually witnessed these events, it becomes clear. God testified through cosmological upheaval to the identity of Jesus. I mean, if you were standing at the foot of the cross and you witnessed this kind of natural phenomena, I think you'd be terrified as well. You know, sometimes our belief in Jesus is considered absurd by the unbelieving world. Some people say we believe in a fairy tale, a myth, a legend. But the Roman centurion was convinced of Jesus' identity through observation. He considered the facts, the reality of what was taking place around him, and he concluded that Jesus must be who he said he was, the Son of God. In the same way, we have very persuasive real evidence to support believing what we believe, that Jesus is the Son of God. One of my professors at Denver Seminary, Craig Blomberg, has written multiple books on the historical reliability of the Gospels themselves. However, we also have evidence outside of our Bibles that testifies to the reliability and reasonableness of their claims. We have historical documents from Roman, Greek, and Jewish scholars that can paint us a pretty clear picture of who Jesus was and what he did while he was on earth. These non-Christian historians documented things like Jesus was a teacher that amassed a large following. He was a magician or a miracle worker. In fact, we actually have Jewish Sanhedrin documents that state he was executed because he had worked miracles in Israel. But what is truly amazing is a Greek historian named Thallus, a non-Christian by the way, wrote that darkness covered the land of Israel during Jesus' crucifixion, and an earthquake occurred at the time of Jesus' death in his 3-volume chronicle of the history of the Mediterranean world from 110 BC to 90 AD. Guys, it's pretty amazing that details about Jesus' death were considered important enough to record in this historical work. All this to say, people come to faith in Christ in many ways. For the Roman Centurion, he was persuaded Jesus was the Son of God by looking at the evidence provided. So if you have a family member, a friend, or a coworker who isn't quite there yet, don't lose hope. Perhaps you just need to present the gospel to them in a different way. Perhaps they are like the Roman Centurion, who evaluated the facts, and they need you to present the facts to them in the same way. I'll see you next week.